Welcome back to Square Talking, the Cheshire Freemasons Podcast. I'm here again this week with myself, Keith Lloyd, and I've got Iain Collins.
Hello, Keith. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks, Iain. I've got my brother with me, brother in Freemasonry and brother in real life, Neil.
Hello.
Okay, so just to recap, back in episode 7, we had a review of Climbing the Ladder, the journey behind the third degree in Masonry. So since we did our last episode, what have you guys been up to? Iain, have you been flying anywhere interesting?
Always flying. EasyJet like to get the pound of flesh out of me as usual. I went to Malaga this morning. It wasn't too bad. A little bit of a delay, which was slightly frustrating, but Palma tomorrow, so hopefully not finish too late recording this evening so I can get to bed nice and early.
What was the weather like there?
It wasn't great today. It was grim, rainy. Disappointed if I was going on holiday to Malaga today, but no, it was fine. But busy Masonically, been put into the ADC role, which is the Assistant Director of Ceremony role, which I wasn't fully expecting, but excited to do that. So been busy working with that and planning rehearsals and stuff. So a different challenge for me, which I didn't think was coming, but no, that's that. How about you guys?
Well, we've had kind of like a bit of a tricky few weeks recently. Our dad passed away, unfortunately, so we've been dealing with that, haven't we, Neil?
Mm.
It was quite sudden. It wasn't expected. So it's just been a bit of a shock for us. So we've been dealing with that as well. I suppose the nice thing to come out of it, if you can say something's nice out of it, is it's given us a chance to go back and go through all the little things that my dad collected through his life. So we found things like an autograph off Del Shannon and his membership card for the Cavern and things
cool.
in Liverpool and things like that. So it's been really nice to see what an interesting life he had and some of the things that he was doing that we didn't realise.
A life well lived.
Yes, yeah, a life well lived, yeah. So today we're going to be introducing today's topic, which is the Widow's Sons, the Masonic Motorcycle Association. So I've got with us today, we've got Dave Lee, who's their president, Neil Monaghan, who's their vice president, and Reese Bland as well. And they're going to be talking to us about the Masonic Motorcycle Association. What makes them unique within the craft is that within Masonry, we have kind of like, regular standard lodges, but we also have things which are called specialist lodges. The Masonic Motorcycle Association is one of these. We also have a science fiction lodge, if that's your bag, certainly mine. And we have Communications Lodge, which specialises in people that work in comms and what have you. So that's why they're unique. It's a very specialist kind of lodge. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about that, what it involves, what you do when you're in a specialist lodge, and also we're going to be setting the scene that brotherhood doesn't just end at the lodge door when we finish our night or day in the Masonic lodge. It doesn't end there. It spreads out beyond that, and people join together with different interests and do different things. And so it doesn't just start with the lodge door. Sometimes it rides on two wheels.
So, first things first, what is the Widow's Sons Masonic Bikers Association?
So the Widow's Sons, first and foremost, is an association within Freemasonry. One of the misconceptions is we're a lodge. We're actually not. We're just a group of guys who love Freemasonry and motorbikes. Ultimately, we've combined the two. We are the only association that's formally recognised by Grand Lodge, And yeah, it's a brotherhood in a brotherhood, and obviously we've all got that common interest of motorbikes.
And how did you get started?
So the Widow's Sons in general began in the 90s over in the US, but it's been in the UK for the last sort of 20-ish years. It started with 6 members over in Nottingham, which would have formed the first sort of grand chapter. And then as more and more members tend to join, bit by bit, the area is sort of like split basically. So East Midlands spurned off West Midlands, and then that spurned off the Northwest chapter. And then in 2018, Cheshire formed from the Northwest chapter with an initial meeting at Cheshire View. And then we have a charter that is issued by the national board, and that was ratified the same year.
For some of our listeners who might not be in Freemasonry, can you explain why you're called the Widow's Sons?
Yeah, so historically, I mean, it comes from obviously Hiram Abiff being classed as the widow's son. That's the simplistic version. But obviously, over in the States originally, when it started up, the idea was twofold. Obviously, it comes from Hiram Abiff, but also it was to look after widows and orphans, and that's ultimately where the name comes from.
And is that what the mission and the aim of the association is?
No, so the overall sort of mission and aim, especially in England, Wales and Northern Ireland, ultimately is to introduce motorcycling to Freemasons, but then also introduce Freemasonry to the motorcycling world. So we do that by raising Masonic awareness in the world of motorcycling. We also aim to support lodges. Obviously, the Cheshire chapter supports lodges throughout Cheshire. But first and foremost, we're Freemasons, and we adhere to the obligations that we took as Freemasons.
So how do you blend motorcycle culture with Freemasonry's values?
So ultimately, friendship is promoted through ride outs, our breakfast meets, tours, and rallies that we hold. You quickly get to know someone very quick when you spend 24/7 with them at a rally in a tent over a beer. So,
or 5, 6 or 7.
And obviously, one of the core principles within the Widow's Sons is charity, which obviously is held very dear to most Freemasons anyway. And we hold sort of numerous fundraising events. We support charity events, and ultimately, all our monies that we donate to various charities all come from the members itself.
So when you say motorcycle gangs, first thing that comes to most people's minds would be things like Hell's Angels and the TV program Sons of Anarchy. I take it, that's a misconception. You're not at all like that.
No. I mean, the only thing that we have in common is we ride bikes, we wear motorcycle gear, and obviously we've got our cuts on with various patches, but that's sort of where that ends. We are specifically a front patch wearing motorcycle association. There's no affiliation at all with any other motorcycle clubs.
So one thing as well, we're an association, but a bikers association, not a motorcycle club. So there is a difference there between the two.
Sweet. Okay, so just reel it back a little bit. So, David, obviously, I can see there you've got your jacket on with president on, and obviously lots of different patches. What is the president role of the Widow's Son?
Yeah, well, yeah, it seems to cover an awful lot, but ultimately, the structure of the Widow's Sons, and specifically inside a chapter, is very loosely. It's very loosely structured around a lodge and obviously historically motorcycle clubs. So the president's role is like the worshipful master in a lodge. I mean, it's my job to try and sort of bring order and control the ruly lot that are in the Cheshire chapter. So it's exactly that. I just preside over a number of different committee meetings. I'm the first port of call for the national PGB, which is the president's governing board. And that's the national board that was set up, and that basically has every single president from all over the country in there. So yeah, I'm basically the conduit between those, and then ultimately just oversee the running of the chapter.
Excellent. Neil, obviously I can see that you're the vice president, so I'll put this one to you then. What does a typical ride out or widow's son ride or event look like?
Typical ride out. We'll all decide where we want to meet to start off with. So we'll usually arrange for the time, say we'll meet somewhere for 9:30. We'll say, right, stands up, as in side stands up, and away for 9:45. Then the route's already decided where we're going to start off with. And on the way down there, we will have, if it's a long route, we'll have certain planned stops. Then we'll have one man drop off, second man will take over, taking the route. But you'll always have one staying back as like a warden, as you'd say. Make sure if there's anyone comes under any problems, if they break down, if God forbid, such would never happens, anybody has an accident, you've got someone acting as a tail end Charlie to mop that up. We'll always carry a first aid kit with us, a couple of basic sets of tools, jump starter as well, which a certain few people have broke down in the past. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I want to go to the corner and break down crying, but that's a different story. But yeah, it's a good day out, and when we get there, it's usually centred around everybody's bellies. We'll go and have something to eat, go for fish and chips. We used to do a nice run up to Morecambe and Blackpool, Lancaster, go to the chippy there. Then on every third Sunday of the month, we'll meet everywhere for the breakfast. And what we do, we'll go north, south, east and west of the province. So we'll all have different areas. But it's a good run out. We support, every year we support the 5-ball run, where you get different chapters go from East Coast to the West Coast, trying to beat the sun as it sets down. And we always support that when they come over this side. We always usually meet up in New Brighton. We'll do a toy run every year. And I can't remember who we've chose, what hospital have we chose for that one?
It was Aberpark. It was Aberpark last year.
Is it Lang?
Yeah, but it's Leighton
Hospital
this year, yeah.
And then we'll also do an Easter egg run to the Masonic care home in Crosby every year. That's good. That goes down well. As soon as you arrive there with the eggs start disappearing. They get stuck on, believe me.
I can imagine they get stuck into all of that sort of good stuff that you guys do. So Reece, what does it mean for you? And can you give us a little bit of a background with your participation in the Widow's Son?
Okay, so I've only recently become a member of the Widow's Sons. I'm a bad penny currently. Been biking probably for about 3 years.
So could you tell us what a bad penny is then inside the order?
It's someone working towards being a widow's son.
Right, okay.
So from what's been communicated to me, I have to do a couple of breakfast meets, a couple of bike rides. They look at my riding, the skill, whether I'm safe, and then I believe I. Go on.
So there's a little test.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, ultimately, becoming a bad penny or an associate, that's sort of like our friends and family type of sort of offshoot to the patch members main group, and that can consist of people waiting to be patched. So they might be Masons, it might be friends, family. I mean, my wife's a bad penny. My kids are also bad pennies, and we tend to use it. One is a bit of a holding area for people like Reece who want to become a patch member, but then it also allows people who are not Masons to see what we actually do within Freemasonry.
So do you have to actually be able to have a motorbike to be a part of the Widow's Sons? I mean, for instance, if you didn't have a motorbike but you had a moped, could you join with a moped? It's just that our friend's got a moped and he calls it his Harley Davidson. So I'm sure he'd be interested if he could join or not.
No, so I mean, the rules have changed slightly. Originally, there was of course you've got to be a Master Mason to join. You have got to have a full motorbike license to be able to join. But there has been changes in the requirement for a certain CC, because originally I think it used to be about a 400 CC, I think, to join. But because some of the more of the newer bikes, even at a lower CC, can often keep up with bigger bikes. So we've sort of scrapped that now. I mean, obviously somebody rocking up on a 125 might potentially struggle. So yeah, so we have got some basic requirements.
When you say working towards your patch, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so to become a fully patch member, which means that you can wear the golden green Widow's Sons patch, but obviously we've also got a Cheshire chapter patch as well. So once you meet the certain criteria, you've come to a couple of breakfasts, you come on a couple of ride outs. We can see how you ride, what your ability's like. Obviously, you get to know us, we get to know you. And sometimes it's not for everybody, but then ultimately, very similar to a lodge, there's then a vote that goes out to all the patch members. Once that vote passes, we then conduct a small ceremony on one of the ride outs, one of the breakfasts, where ultimately you get presented with a couple of your patches, and then you're in the inner circle.
So how do you represent Freemasonry then on public runs or rallies?
I mean, obviously, as a widow's son, ultimately we've always got our regalia on. So, like I said before, first and foremost, we're Freemasons. Obviously, we wear a lot of patches that contain Masonic symbols. So we're not too hard to spot. I mean, I wear a big square and compass on my back. There's a number of members who also do the same now. So yeah, ultimately, especially with that regalia on, we have to make sure that we act proper when we're out and about, and ultimately we follow the same rules that any Freemason would when they're out in public.
Okay. So what's your best moments then you've had in the saddle? Is there anything that comes to mind?
One of the best moments I've had was not actually in the saddle. A lady came up with a daughter and she saw that we had the TLC patch on, and she came over. She said when her daughter is young, she bears the squeegee boards, and the liquid that came inside, that was inside, just sprayed all over her face. She was close to losing sight. And she said while she was in the hospital, they gave her a TLC teddy bear, and she still got it. And I get upset thinking about this. She still got it from 8 years ago, and that girl still remembers what it was all about. She said it just brightened the day when she got given one in the hospital.
Yeah, it's great to know that the Masonic charities do and change lives in positive ways, and it's really good to hear them stories.
And one thing that Dave said, and while we're out, we do always polite to everyone. Anybody comes up and asks us, we'll talk about Masonry, what we're about and what we do.
So we've been talking there about different charities, and you said that the Widow's Sons raised funds for lots of different causes. So can you share some examples of the fundraising that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, since its conception in 2018, we've donated to nearly 80 different causes. But some of the causes, just to give a few examples, are things like Foxfield School. We've given £1,500 to the TLC. We've given £1,500 to prostate cancer charities. We've given £1,500 to Cheshire Blood Bikes. Every year we always support the Royal British Legion Poppy Appeal by purchasing a number of different wreaths and little crosses that we distribute across Cheshire. Multiple RNLI stations, scouts and guides. I mean, they're just some of the examples from, like I say, 80 different causes. But I think ultimately to date we've given away just short of about £24,000 now. To ultimately, we try and aim for smaller charities if we can. I know obviously the British Legion is a larger charity, but we try and aim for the smaller charities because the £1,500 and those types of donations make a big difference to the smaller ones.
One of the things that we did through COVID, we purchased a large amount of baby grows for in the hospital.
So is that how you decide which charities to support then? Is it that you mainly go for the smaller charities, the donation is going to make a big impact?
I mean, most of the donations actually come from ideas from members. I mean, one thing that is really good, and one of the things that I really like about the Widow's Sons is we're really, really active and really reactive, especially when it comes to charitable requests. So if a member sees something locally that they think might be worthy of a donation, it can literally go to the committee, our charity committee, be signed off within 24 hours, and the money can be with them. But then we do have longer term charities that we try and support, which are normally voted on at our AGM, which is held obviously once a year, predominantly at Cheshire View.
This year we vote to support Save the Family and Children today.
Okay, so you said that you've supported, Lakeland Hospital and Harrow Park Hospital, and it's all really good examples of Freemasonry being a force for good in real life. So, what's the proudest achievement of the chapter so far?
I mean, I can only speak from my own personal experience, but that will have been at our Christmas party last year, where with donations that were made on the night, we broke through the £20,000 in total charitable giving, which was obviously quite a milestone, considering it was originally just a group of blokes who ride motorbikes ultimately.
So, Neil, you mentioned before that you always practice Freemasonry principles when you're out of the road. So, can you give me an example of what that means and how that translates to your outlook as a rider?
Well, for me, we always look out for each other, take care of each other, and as we always say, we're our brother's keeper. Try not to be impolite to people, because the first thing they say, look at them gang of bikers who are Freemasons. Does that will reflect badly on Freemasonry?
Yeah. So do you ever do any kind of like joint events with different lodges or kind of cross-province events or anything like that?
Well, cross-province is really to start with the national rally. For definite, we meet up with the Northwest chapter quite a bit. Meet up with North Wales, and if there's any events that they're having, we'll go and support. Say if they're having a Christmas party, they'll go and support it because that helps raise their funds for their charities and vice versa.
I think one of the more recent sort of provincial events that we've supported was, you've probably seen on the provincial socials that during the AGM we went over to collect a wreath which had been sent up by UGLE, and that was a national initiative supported by all the chapters, where wreaths were sent up by Grand Lodge to the provinces, and all of the respective Widow Sons chapters were asked to basically escort that wreath from the province down to the National Arboretum in Staffordshire, which we did last weekend.
How many Widow Sons chapters are there in the UK?
Now I think there's about 46. The overall aim is ultimately to have one in each province, which obviously we're not too far off now. I mean,
it's not far. There was two new chapters at the rally formed this year, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, just to give a bigger picture of that, obviously there's potentially 46 chapters with about 12 or 1300 Widow Sons in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But that forms part, obviously, of a bigger picture. I mean, I think globally there's about 190,000 Widow Sons spread across the globe. I won't read out every country that they're in because it pretty much touches every corner of the globe now. So
awesome.
So what's next for the Widow Sons?
I think, if I'm honest, it's just more of the same. It's just, continue to advertise ourselves within the province, and we do things like, and we've just made the provincial grandmaster an honorary member, where we presented him with a certificate, and he's got his own cut, and he's got his own road name, which he picked Big Cheese, which we thought was quite fitting. But yeah, I think we continue to support lodges, we continue to support provincial events, and continue with our own charity events, fundraising, and ultimately supporting the community and local charities, really.
So how can Masons, and indeed non-Masons who might be listening to this, get involved and support your efforts?
I think first and foremost, it's potentially, we can be accessed via our social media. We've got a very up-to-date website. All of those communications go through to our secretary. But ultimately, it's just a case of get in touch, turn up to a breakfast. We get to know each other. You see if you like us. We see if we like you. It's as simple as that.
Have you got any rides or events coming up?
We've got our Christmas party planned a bit early this year on the 28th of November. If you want to go, it's £37 for your ticket. Three-course dinner. It's being held at Cheshire View. We've got a nice live band who are very good. Then when's next breakfast?
We all breakfast, obviously the third Sunday of every month. We generally have.
I forgot where it is next month. It's probably my turn to organise, and I'll end up doing it 3 days before.
We generally have one official ride out every month, which is normally the first Sunday. But obviously, because the weather's turning nasty, we don't tend to get out on the ride outs much. But then, really, the next big event after the Christmas party is the Blessing of the Bikes, which is normally held at Cheshire View, and that's normally in March, and that normally kicks off the start of the riding season. And our chaplain turns up to that and does a special biker-related service, blesses us, blesses our bikes, blesses our pillions. And like I say, and that marks the start of the next riding season. And then we start again.
I usually get an extra blessing because I need it the way I ride. I ride like a Vic, that's slow.
Do you have any dream rides?
Well, recently, a lot of the lads did the NC 500, didn't they? It's 5 of them. That was a nice dream ride.
Yeah.
500 mile around the coast of Scotland.
Yeah, I mean, mine's probably one of the obvious ones, and mine would be. I mean, I ride a Harley Davidson anyway, but mine would be Route 66.
Same with me. That.
Yeah, I think it'd just have to be. That's the sacred ride that I think everybody wants to have a go on.
I've been to the end of Route 66 in Santa Monica. Well, I didn't, but just.
I've just been on the other end of the East Coast.
Yeah. It would be a fantastic journey to take that. Yeah.
But then I think it's probably also important to mention as well that we have got Widow's Sons in Germany are holding a rally next year. So I think for some people that might be a dream ride as well, being able to ride across a couple of different countries. Go and meet brothers in Germany, ride around the German mountains. So that could also be one for people's bucket list.
My ambitions are low. I just don't want to get wet on the next ride.
Yeah, just make sure your dream rides are in the summer.
Yeah. I mean, there is a running joke at the minute with Reese that obviously he's only been involved for a couple of months, but every time he comes out, he seems to summon the rain gods. And I don't even just mean a slight downpour. I mean sort of like boots filled. That type of ride. Unfortunately,
I try not to get caught in the rain because my rain suit's bright yellow. I look like a rather strange looking fat banana.
Excellent. So, as you may or may not know, it depends if you've been listening to our podcast, is that we ask everyone that comes onto the podcast, if we have a Masonic time capsule that's infinite in size and it's going to be opened in 100 years, what items would you guys, as the Widow's Sons, put inside the Masonic time capsule for people to open in 100 years?
I think mine would probably be me leather cut. I think it'd be interesting in 100 years to see if people are still riding the same type of bikes, wearing the same type of gear, and whether they've still got the same type of patches.
Reese?
For me, it'd probably be my pint glass from the National Rally. Had an emblem on it. Had the Masonic symbol and picture of a bike. Pretty much everything what the Widow's Sons is about. I had a good fun time at that, especially with my family.
I'd probably put my road name off my cut on it.
Okay, can you explain a bit more about that?
The road name, it's you basically want to make sure you've got your own name, otherwise you get one shit chose for you. Like for me, my road name was Odd Job, because that's from going to one of my mates' 40th. He had a Bond and Babes night, so there was no way I was wearing a gold lame frock and size 11.5 slingback sandals. So I got dressed as Odd Job, and apparently I looked rather good, and he thought he'd hired me in as a lookalike. Just as well I don't really smile, because that's what he did on the movies and just grunted at people every night. So I had quite a good night in the end.
Excellent. No, I think that's really good. And the other thing that we normally ask people is if you could describe the Widow's Sons in 3 words. Neil really struggles, not you, Neil, Vice President, but
I struggle quite a lot in life.
Neil really struggles with 3 words, but he's still thinking from episode 1 about his 3 words. But if you guys could summarize with the Widow's Sons in 3 words, what would you guys go?
I'd start with brotherhood, friendship. That's hyphenated, so class.
Yeah, we'll give you that.
That's classed as one.
We'll
Yeah,
allow
yeah.
that.
No, I think it's really great that you guys involve the families, and I think that can be something within Freemasonry which doesn't always happen. We have to wait for some special events normally, but it's great that you guys include the whole family, and it's a whole family atmosphere that you guys create.
We do. We always encourage everyone. I'll invite people down. I'll just say, bring everyone. Bring as much more the merrier. That's good to have that nice atmosphere and buzz around.
I think it's easier as well.
Yeah, it's a lot.
If you're a young individual with kids, it's hard to make attend a lot of social functions within Masonry because the case is for adults. Whereas the Widow's Sons, you got the breakfast meets, you got the national rally. Kids at whatever age are welcome, and it's good to see them getting on with mixing with other kids.
Same with the Christmas party as well.
Excellent. So, guys, before we sort of wrap up and I hand you over to Keith, is there anything that you guys want to say for the listeners before Keith takes over?
I think from my side, it's just if you're a Mason and you ride a bike, we want to hear from you. And if you're not a Mason and you still ride a bike, we still want to hear from you.
Okay, well, that's great. Thanks to Dave, Neil, and Reese there from the Widow's Sons for joining us and sharing their stories. And I think the association really does embody Freemasonry, Freemasonry brotherhood, charity, and fellowship in a very modern way, as they were saying with their breakfast meetups and what have you. And that is the way forward for Freemasonry, is to evolve and adapt. So if you do have any stories which you'd like to share with us or event ideas, then you can contact us at podcast@cheshiremasons.co.uk. You can at cheshirefreemasons.org.uk/square talking. We're on Instagram at Cheshire PGL, Facebook under Province of Cheshire Freemasons, and we're probably on the TikTok as well. So we'll be back next time with another exciting episode soon, so please do join us again. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.